Alrighty. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are just now kicking off our 10 a.m. session here at the Growth Club. I hope you've enjoyed the morning session that we've had so far, just had with Michael. Feel free to jump into the chat. Let me know you can hear and see everything a-okay. I know a few people were having some issues with the volume before. If you are having any, thank you, Michelle. Good to see you back here. If anyone needs any help or support, you can email me through the day and I'll try to troubleshoot. I'm your IT tech support today when it comes to this stuff. I put my email in the chat there for everyone as well. Good to see a few of you in the chat. Good to see a few of you were in the last session as well too. So, on the Growth Club, just going through some of the housekeeping. We're doing this over the next 2 days. We've got 27 sessions. There's 30 plus speakers. We're talking all things workflow, AI, compliance, a whole bunch of stuff. And in particular, we're talking about AI and websites. And joined by the awesome team from Encore. So I've got Scott McNaught, Alex Cumberland. Gents, welcome. How are you both?
Thanks for the intro, Trent. I'm well. My name is Scott, and this is Alex.
Cool, good. Well, I'm so glad you're here. Before I hand over to you guys, I'm just going to go through the quick housekeeping. So all these sessions are being recorded. This one right now is being recorded. So if you need to play it back, share it with a team member, whatever it may be, you're going to be able to do that. So that's nice and simple. And that is powered by the team at Vinyl. So we're recording all the sessions, grabbing the transcriptions. You're going to have heaps of takeaways from every session that runs over the next 2 days. There is a CPD point available for this session powered by the team at AccrediWise. There will be information post the summit to give you info on how to get and collect and claim that. But thank you to those guys. There's a chance to win $500. Neve, I've seen you post on LinkedIn already to get in the draw for this, but everyone else that's thinking, hey, I could win up to $500 as well, all you need to do is jump on LinkedIn. You can tag the firm, you can use the Growth Club hashtag, and we're going to draw some winners over the next 2 days. It's literally that simple. You could just take a photo of this, screenshot, and say, hey, I'm hanging out with Trent, Scott, and Alex, talking all things AI and websites, and you go in the draw. That's it. The more times you share and post, the more times that you will go in the draw to win. So yeah, pretty happy to now move on and thank our partners. So firstly, huge thank you to the team at Intuit for backing and being our platinum partner on the summit. Huge thank you to the team at Encore who are also supporting and backing the summit as well. And you're about to hear from them on what they know best, which is website building and the new crazy thing that is AI. So, Hairy Lizard, good comment. I actually, Jack, that's you, isn't it? I remember we had this laugh the other day when you yeah, that's right. Good. Good to see you here, Hairy Lizard. Thanks to all of our partners and sponsors. I'm going to hand over to the hairiest. Yeah. I'm going to hand over to Scott and Alex to run through their session today, which is the AI ready website, 5 fixes to boost visibility, speed, and leads. And the important part of this, I think, is that when we think about search and the way we find and navigate websites, this is all changing because we are using tools like ChatGPT and Grok and Anthropic and all the ones Michael just mentioned in the last session to do things. I actually find I'm spending less time on Google as a result. That's not everyone, but there is a slow change in how this all gets done. Scott, I know you're going to run through and go through a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to let you start sharing your screen and officially hand over to you to run us through all the good things that you're about to go through.
Fantastic. Thanks, Trent. Thanks for the warm introduction, and hello to everyone in the webinar today. So I'll start off by introducing myself. So yeah, my name is Scott McNaught from Encord. Basically, I am the director of Encord, and I have here with me Alex, who is our partner manager. Um, Basically, I am a director, but at my heart, I'm actually a software engineer. And I'm a very sort of technical person, and I've had a lot of, I guess, deep experience with AI, and actually like training our own models. So I'm not just like, I guess, an AI sort of fluff person. I've had like deep experience in, like training open source models, fine tuning them, and actually, working with, even some of the math around, fixing tokenizers and all kinds of stuff like that in the technical space. So yeah, I definitely have had some real world experience with AI models. So um yeah. I'll get stuck into, I guess, how I think things are changing and how you can take advantage of things. So, and yeah, I'll give a bit of an introduction of what Encord is as well. Encord's basically a software platform for small, medium businesses to build a really effective online presence through their website, customer database, marketing, and e-commerce. And we'll step into a bit of a demo of that today as well. Um, so a bit of an agenda. We're going to talk about our website's still relevant, touching on those points that Trent was mentioning, where Google's probably having a little bit of a reduction in its usage for, the likes of ChatGPT and other AI search engines. Um, we're going to talk about Markdown and how it's basically the interface to LLMs, running through a bit of an Encore demo, talking about robots, TXT, sitemap XML, and LLMs.txt, talking about page speed, the new Google AI mode that's coming through, meta tags, and how you can basically create AI content as well. So, I guess we want to just first of all touch on the point of, well, we have all these tools now, like ChatGPT. Our website's even still relevant? My answer to that is that ChatGPT and all of the LLMs are really great at answering a user question or a query. So, if you want to maybe like have a technical question about, I don't know, particular tax law or something like that, you know, you can use that as a sort of query to be like, what are the rules for blah, 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 and it will return a bit of a summary. And of course, you've got to check that against, the sources to make sure it's not lying to you. But in terms of the actual websites themselves, if you're like an accounting firm or a bookkeeper, like people are still going to visit your website when they engage you. So they're going to have a look at your site to find out what services you in particular offer. They're going to have a look at your staff members. They're probably even going to fill out forms on your website. So it's while ChatGPT and the AI sort of things are getting really good at answering questions and responding to you in a chat-like fashion, I still feel like the end user is going to end up on your website to experience your brand and to, I guess, look at all of the whole picture of what you're offering. So summarizing that as, I guess, the final destination of where people are going. And I guess it's also important that it's still an experience that you control as well. So, while there might be information being fed into the LLMs, you know, having them on your website, you can actually present and control the experience that the end user is going through as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how LLMs, for those who don't know what LLM is, it's large language model. Basically, the technical term for what ChatGPT or Claude or Grok is. How are LLMs trained? And it's through basically a plain text version of a document, and that's called Markdown. I think for everyone, it's quite important to understand a little bit about how Markdown works because it actually can really improve how you prompt and work with AI like ChatGPT. This here is an example of a Markdown document. We can see here that this single hash represents a heading 1, two hashes represents a heading 2, three hashes represents heading 3. We have basic paragraph and we have dashes inside it. So basically what we're doing is we're kind of like creating a formatted document just using plain text by using symbols and things that make it look like um, that they're more important headings on those lines. So some other examples. Again, we have like heading here. If we want to bold some text, we can actually put stars around the word and heading 2. And this is an example of a link and an example of how an image might be embedded into a document. So when OpenAI and Anthropic are training their models, they're basically ingesting data that looks like this into the model, and then it's being trained. When you make a query on ChatGPT, it actually writes this out in the same sort of format, and then it gets rendered with proper headings onto your website. So how you might actually find this useful. This all looks a little bit nerdy to start with, but just hear me out. If you're using ChatGPT, you can actually use these headings to isolate different parts of your prompt. So I'm just going to copy this little query here, and we'll put it into ChatGPT. So basically, as an example, we have a heading, and then we have a bit of content here, and then we've written this is going to be the instruction, and say from the context, tell me which animal jumped. And it will basically be able to break that down into being this is the first part of the context, and this is the instruction. So if you are using this, I guess, in a more practical example, maybe you're an accountant and you are analyzing two or three different pasted blocks of documents, you might actually write something like hash and then write tax laws and then paste a whole lot of stuff and then like have another section with hash, you know, financial reports and then paste another block. And then you could write, hash instruction and then basically give it like a really concise question that you want out of the I guess blocks of context that you have and be able to reference them as individual parts rather than having like I guess just a big structure a big unstructured block of text. So by using these markdown indicators you can really I guess tweak the model into um, getting it to better understand the context versus what you're getting it to do. So how does that then relate to your website? So when, you know, OpenAI or ChatGPT or Anthropic is looking at your particular website, it's basically going to look at the content of it and convert that into a markdown document for it to be ingested. So we talk about what's called the semantic structure of the document. And that is, like how is it laid out in terms of the headings, the content within it, the bullet point list, those kind of things. So if you currently have a website, this is actually a really good exercise that you can do. There's a really nice tool here, and I can paste it in the chat. I think I can do that through here. Basically, what this allows you to do is you can copy text onto your clipboard, paste it into here, and it will give you the markdown representation. And this will kind of give you an idea of what ChatGPT will see your website as. So if we go to our website, for example, and I literally come in and I copy this entire block of text, and then I come over to this tool here and I paste. This is basically what ChatGPT is going to see when it looks at our website. So it's going to basically see this is a section here. This dashed bracket, this dashed line indicates that it's a new sort of section. Then we have a bit of an overview of what it is, a paragraph. And we can see here that, we've got a link for a free trial. And then we've got some subheadings for the features of it with individual paragraphs underneath it. So ChatGPT is going to get a pretty good understanding of what, this website's about just through its, structure of, the the content here. You should be able to read this as like a human, looking at the headings and the structure of your site here as well. So this here might be a really good example of a clear hierarchy of how the markdown is being rendered from your website. So you'll see, like a heading, what we do, who we serve, and you've got, like clear bullet point topics and paragraphs that are, nice and semantically laid out in plain text. So yeah, that's probably tip number one is to try and just test how is the semantic relationship working with I guess your headings and paragraph and content on your site. and try and have a look at it in the eyes of ChatGPT. If you're trying to optimize for that, make sure you're using heading 1 tags, heading 2 tags throughout the content of your site. Your content management system should be able to handle those headings nicely. If not, then you should be looking at a different system because, yeah, that's basic sort of 101 of, I guess, website creation. Um, and then, yeah, see what you can do to try and, I guess, optimize for the semantic structure. So I'm going to hand over to Alex now, who's going to give a bit of an overview of what Encore is. And yeah, he'll walk through probably about a 5 to 10 minute sort of demo of what our actual software does. So I'll hand over to him now.
Hey team. So Oncord basically came about because we wanted to give people a central tool to manage their online presence rather than separate tools for managing the website, maybe posting blog articles, sending email campaigns, running e-commerce. Those tools were really fragmented and in different places. You have to train staff on, a whole lot of different tools. When you're looking at data privacy, you end up with a whole lot more suppliers that you need to be worried about where your customer data is sitting. So we really wanted to bring everything together in one neat and tidy platform, which looks after hosting, security, backups, updates. Yeah, all in the one. So this is what the dashboard actually looks like. So this is the experience that people get when they want to manage their online presence. On the left, you can see Oncord is separated up into four sort of key components. The website management side of things. So that's where we go to edit pages, post blog articles, and see some analytics about where traffic is coming from. Underneath that, we've got a central contact database. So whenever someone is filling out, like forms on the website or RSVPing for events, maybe signing up for newsletters, making purchases, that all goes into a central contact database. Underneath that, we've got a suite of marketing tools. So you can send email newsletters, SMS campaigns to that database of contacts. We also run marketing automation through Oncord, doing workflows like maybe when someone fills out a form, you want to send an email sequence, take events RSVP, and then finally down the bottom, commerce, whether that is selling online directly as like, an e-commerce business or leveraging data that's in your accounting software, usually for, marketing purposes, by syncing up sales information and contact info. So you can hit a lot of stuff. Typically, that would be, up to 10 different applications. And the whole idea of Oncord is to bring that all into one central place. If we start up under the website side of things, Oncord really is built around your website, the platform that you use to manage and run your site. So there's a few ways to get started with Oncord. You can generate a website design using our built-in AI tools. So that will allow you to generate a design based on your logo and you can pick a series of templates to get started building it yourself. We also have a migration and onboarding team that can set up a professional site for you. And we have a really talented community of agency partners too that can build a site for you as well. There's two types of designs in Oncord, the website design, which is obviously for the website, and email design, which is supposed to keep all of your email messages, looking consistent too. So just to give you a little bit of a demo of the experience of setting up a site design. So let's say that you wanted to build a site, you wanted to have a go at building a site yourself. You can code from scratch if that's something that you're keen to get stuck into. Otherwise, you can get started using our AI tool. Do you have a good example site for me, Scott?
Yeah, put in Trent's, which is letsjourney.io.
And the one?
Yep.
Sweet. So we've got an existing site. So we've put that address in. Encord's done a little bit of a crawl of the existing site, had a bit of a look on a few other sources like social media and things, and picked up the logo. So we can use that to get started. OneCode's going to ask what is the main action that we want people to do through the site. So in this case, we might want people to book a meeting. It's picked up the colors from the logo and presented us with, a series of website templates that we can then click into and, customize a little bit further, building it out with OnCode's visual editor tools. So if I go into pages here, we can actually see these are all of the pages that are set up on the website. It's really important that as a business owner, you have control over creating and editing website pages. When staff change around, when services change, you should be able to jump onto the website and, create pages yourself. So to show you the experience of editing a page, I've got a test sort of landing page here. So yeah, clicking on that, it's opened up our visual page editor. Not super dissimilar to editing a Word document, I guess. So really easy to make changes. With Scott talking about the structure of the document before with, headings, paragraphs, and that type of thing. It's really easy for us to make those changes up on the top. A good way of thinking about it, I think, is imagine that you're putting together a Word document and generating a table of contents for that Word document. So we kind of want, a heading 1, a series of heading 2s underneath that, and paragraphs kind of throughout our website page. There's drag and drop elements to put together. Maybe we want buttons on the page, videos from YouTube, forms. It's a whole lot of templates sort of in here to help you get started building the page yourself, or editing the existing page too. If we go over to settings, this is where we can set up how we want this page to be indexed by search. So the metadata for the page. We can generate a description for the page just using our AI tools, along with keywords for the page as well. So that's a real time saver, and I can go through and adjust those if it hasn't quite nailed it on the first time. And we get a bit of a preview of how this page will actually look when it's presented in search results. So this will be the experience of editing pages on the website, or if you're publishing blog posts, the article, the content on the site as well. Speaking of post articles, a post on a website, think of it as like a news or a blog section of your site. So a post usually consists of an image, a title, and a short teaser. And if someone clicks on that post, it takes them to usually a page on your website that's got the full article. But it could be like, anywhere you'd like to link to. So OnCode makes it easy to create those posts, uploading your image, setting your title and teaser, and then editing the attached article that you've got as well. As you're posting that content up to your website, if you'd like to, you can come down to the social tool that's under marketing and schedule that post to go out to, your Facebook page. I've got a Twitter feed set up here as well. And you might have LinkedIn going. So rather than flicking around between those different social media tools, trying to give staff access to those tools as well, you can just come in here and sort of post those articles up to social media. So that means you've got your content on the website, on social media. And then finally, if you are running email newsletters, so maybe a newsletter every month or every couple of months to your existing client base, you can create a message from scratch or copy like a template that you're using, for your newsletters. But one of the nice things that we allow you to do in here is create from posts. So if you have been posting content up to the website every few weeks, you can come in here, and when it's time to create the newsletter, tick on those posts and create the email campaign. That'll then take you over to an email editor, which is really similar to the experience that you get when you're editing a website page. So drag and drop elements to upload images and things, built-in tools to test, whether you're going to get caught by spam filters and things, and then you can prepare to send that email newsletter out. So that's the website and email that have been touched. I'll flick over to the contact database side of things. So like I said, contacts will just organically be created in your database from people interacting with forms. You might import them manually when you do events and that type of thing as well. And if I click on a contact record, I will see all the information that we've got on this person that they've filled out in forms and things. If you want to, you can create groups for your contacts. So you might have a group in there for like, I don't know, different types of clients, as an example. People usually create those groups to target their email campaigns. So you might, yeah, send a campaign out to a specific group. Underneath it, we get a really detailed activity feed of all the touch points that this person's had with your on-call online presence. Because on is in control of the site, your email marketing, and can be in control of commerce and the accounting side of things, you get a really detailed activity feed. Most of the number one place that I personally will use this is when we get a really good inquiry, through the site, someone filling out forms and things, and that's a really ideal client for us. I can come in here and see like, oh, this person they clicked over from Google. These are the pages that they had a bit of a look at. They filled out this form, they've received email newsletters, and it really just gives me a better idea about how those really awesome ideal clients are interacting with the site and email campaigns. So I can make sure that those pages are really on point. The email campaigns that are going to them, are going out at the right time and make sense as well. And yeah, it just helps keep your finger on the pulse on that side of things. So the website's not just this static thing. It's kind of sitting there. You actually get some detail about how people are using it. So that's the website side of things, contacts. We do have built-in tools for doing automation as well. This, in a lot of cases, negates the need for doing a whole lot of connectors and things between email and web forms and all the other tools that you might be using. It basically allows you to set up an automated workflow where we can say something like, so these are all of the features of Oncord. We can say things like, when someone RSVPs for an event that we're running or submits a form on the website, maybe when someone visits a page, we want to do certain things. So all of these can initiate a series of automated workflows. So as a bit of an example here, we might say, let's say when this particular form on my website is submit, so someone fills out that form, first thing I want to do is send an email to them. After that, I'm going to maybe wait a week and send a follow-up SMS, for example. So yeah, in a couple of clicks, being able to set up what would historically be integrations and connectors between multiple platforms is really handy. I see people use this feature for sending automated email and SMS campaigns. Another good one is using it as a system to filter your contacts into the right groups based on, activity on the website, how they're being invoiced and that type of thing as well. If you are running events, you can run events through the website. The benefit of that, I guess, is instead of using an external events platform, which again is another thing you've got to learn and pay for, you can just run that straight from the website. Those contacts are then populating into the database, and yeah, it's a nice, easy way to run events. It's pretty flexible. I just did it with my wedding, actually. We had people going on the website, signing up there. We printed name tags through Oncord, and yeah, it was kind of cool. So yeah, that's the event side of things. People use it a lot for running workshops and yeah, that type of thing. Underneath that, we've got the e-commerce side of Oncord. So yeah, it's pretty flexible. We've got everything from like membership associations, not-for-profits. This example is like a music store. We do plenty of retail businesses. We actually have a decent amount of professional services companies that still use e-commerce, not so much to sell widgets and things, but maybe because they're selling purchase of events, like they're selling event and workshops, and even just to take advantage of Encord's integrations with accounting software as well. So yeah, Oncord offers an integration with QuickBooks Online where you can have sales invoicing going two-way between Oncord and the accounting software. The reason you would want to do that is if you're running retail, obviously all of the invoices will be reflected in accounting software. But the other thing that you can do is leverage the sales invoicing side of thing for marketing. So setting up automations that might say like, I don't know, when an invoice with a specific line item is raised, maybe you want to run a workflow, for example. So yeah, it's cool to have that built in. Yeah, so that's what Oncord is all about. If you do want to have a bit of a play around yourself, I do encourage you to jump on our website. On the Get Started page, you can fire up a free trial and have a play around with all of this yourself, generating a site and yeah, having a bit of a play around with how that would work. Cheers.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, we'll step back into the presentation. Okay, so just talking about, I guess, the website optimization side of things now. There's a few technical files that can be hosted on your website that can assist with, I guess, LLMs and AI, and even Google as well, or primarily Google, to index your website. So those three are robots.txt, sitemap.xml, and a new standard as well, llms.txt. So as a bit of an exercise, if you have an existing website, throw these URLs into your address bar, and you should get something that looks like this. So if you go to like yourwebsite.com/robots.txt, you should find a particular file that looks like this, which basically is allowing your robots to have a look at most things. It should have user agent star, and it should have a reference to your sitemap.xml file within here as well. So let's have a look at the next file. So that's the sitemap.xml file. So again, going to your website and putting in sitemap.xml as a thing. This file is the most important, I guess, technical file that you need to have hosted on your site in terms of getting your content discovered. So what it contains is basically a list of every single page that's on your website and the time that it was last modified. So Encord and a lot of good content management systems will automatically generate this. So that way, when you make a change on your website, it will automatically put it into this sitemap.xml and reference the time when it was last modified. Google and a lot of AI tools will hit this file constantly on your website to see what's changed, and it will download the new information from the page that's been modified. So yeah, definitely the most important one to have a look at. There's then a new standard called llms.txt, and we haven't actually implemented this yet because I've done a fair bit of research on it. I looked at our server logs the other day across 1,000 different websites. I can confirm that ChatGPT, Grok, none of the major players are using this particular file yet. But what it is going to be, and what the standards are going to be for it, is basically going to be a markdown representation of your website. So rather than it having to look at your website, convert it manually to markdown, via that like paste process that we did before, it's going to be a way that you can actually control what is being sent to the LLM via a text file. Some people are saying like it's going to come in as a new standard. We're sort of sitting on the fence with it at the moment. As soon as it does become adopted, we're going to implement it as part of the platform. Another important thing to consider is your page speed. So basically, that's the response time in which your server is, firing out web pages. AI has become quite aggressive with crawling, and the load that we see on our servers from just AI traffic scraping and trying to get more information. It's really gone up, and the AI likes to see the responses coming in fast. So there's a good tool from Google called pagespeed.webdev. I can put that in the chat for you as well. Basically, this here is a tool that you can put in your website address in, and it will give you a score and tell you if there's any major problems with the site speed performance. Now, take some of this with a bit of a grain of salt, because once you start adding like Facebook tracking pixels, Google tracking stuff, LinkedIn tracking, it does start to slow down and the score can be reduced dramatically by that. YouTube videos as well can do it. So do take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but make sure that you're at least getting the core web vitals being passed and most of these are probably in the 70 plus bracket. Again, once you start adding the third-party code for tracking stuff, you're always going to get a bit of a performance hit. And sadly, like that's actually the main reason why on-code powered sites will get a bit of a drop. Where usually at the 90 plus bracket without third-party scripts, but once you add them, yeah, it does start to slow down. Um, so Google, as Trent was saying, Google is under threat. So they are changing the way that they are, I guess, starting to implement their search engine. The default now, when you visit Google in the United States, as far as I'm aware, probably about 2 weeks ago, they've changed this. They've launched a new feature called AI mode, and it's basically a ChatGPT-like interface for questions that comes out as soon as you type a query, and it is the default search engine. In Australia here, we don't have this yet. I believe it might have been introduced in India as well. They're starting to roll it out into a few random countries. So I'll just have a look at this quick video here. So you can see that this person's typed some things in here, and it's basically gone and given a, full sort of, I guess, response on the topic that the person's inquired about. Again, it's more designed for question answer rather than for a specific, like, I know, query that's not exactly question answer related. The way that the AI mode that Google has implemented is quite interesting. It's using a technique called fan out, and it's basically a way that it will interpret a question and try to find out all of the individual sources and relevant parts of that question and aggregate from a huge variety of sources to find the answer for it. So typically this will come from websites again, but it will integrate things like, the weather and light and a whole lot of other things as well, depending on what the user's query is for. So yeah, the idea of it again is that it's basically taking a user's query and aggregating from a whole lot of different sources to find an answer for you. Um, so we're then going to talk a little bit about meta tags. Some people think that they're not used that heavily. My experience personally has been that they still are being used, at least to find what content is relevant for your site, and to a query as well, before it gets too deep into it. So as Alex was mentioned, we've got a very, very cool tool which basically can summarize your page and your content and generate your SEO keywords and description automatically for you. So that was basically like this particular tool here. Maybe we look at a page on, I know, learning Intuit QuickBooks. We can go into the settings and then basically just fully generate a nice search engine description and set of keywords as well. And you can, of course, then go and customize them as well. Um, so then we're talking about, I guess, how do we write content that's good for both humans to read and also for the AI? So definitely, I would advise with writing content to not just copy and paste from ChatGPT or from any LLM directly. Make sure it's your own and use the AI as a tool to, I guess, assist you with your writing. So maybe you're stuck writing a paragraph, maybe you want it to be worded slightly different or it sounds funny as you're writing it. That's the best way to use the AI, is to use it to assist and augment your writing. The other thing as well is because these LLMs are very good at finding an answer to a question, it's very useful to create content that is both question and answer based. So as an example, if you have a page, it might be a good idea to include a frequently asked questions section where it'll have like a FAQ of, like question, answer, maybe similar to what we have on our, do we have one on our pricing page?
Yeah, down the bottom.
Like this kind of thing. Is support included? Whatever the questions and answer might be as part of your article, that can really help because you're then targeting your content to match users' queries. There's also citations. So basically, because anyone can write anything on the internet, it's useful to have both yourself referencing third-party websites and third-party websites referencing your content. So basically having, I guess, Google and ChatGPT will kind of get facts from things cross-referencing each other. I also skipped over the location side of things. Just make sure if you're like an accountant, maybe you're in like Mornington Peninsula, have a page on, I don't know, the cool things to do in Mornington Peninsula or like awesome local businesses in Mornington Peninsula. Like if you can really try and target like your particular area, if someone's searching for like the best accountant in Mornington Peninsula, you're going to come up more regularly in the search and AI results if you have content on your website about Mornington Peninsula.
Client stories is a really good one there.
That is
As you're
true,
doing
yes.
like write-ups about services and things you've done for a particular client, that's usually a pretty good opportunity to drop in, yeah, the location a bit too.
So yeah, we were talking about, I guess, generating content with AI, and what we're sort of stepping into. Um, I'll just quickly fire open Encore again. So we're bringing a lot of the AI tooling into our editing environment. This is a tool that we're going to be releasing in the next month or so, but it's basically an AI assistant which is going to help when you're writing content on your website. So as an example, I've created like a bit of a page here about small business 20K tax write-off. I can come in and I've got a whole lot of different options. Maybe I want to write a paragraph, translate it to a different language, even proofread it. If I choose like just write a paragraph, it can come in and basically understand the context of where I am within the article and write a bit of AI content um, you know, to in the context or location of where I am in the document there. Again, using AI as a tool, like some of this information, I'm not an accountant, I don't know how accurate this is, but if I'd written some of this content and maybe I just want it reworded somewhat, I can come in and go, I want to make that clearer, maybe a little bit shorter, and I can, click my paragraph and just, make that paragraph a little bit smaller, for example, and it will, take my existing content and rewrite it for me. So the beauty there is that you don't have to go back and forward into, ChatGPT to rewrite things. The other really exciting thing that we're working on at the moment is a tool to basically be able to just chat and insert things into your document. So as an example, I might come in here and go make the heading green. And so I don't know if any of you have heard about AI agents. This is an example of an agent. So an agent is basically a tool which will go into your workflow that will effectively change or that sorry, it's basically a chat sort of process that will call tools to go back and forward on itself to do certain tasks. So I can come in and like add more things like now add a contact form and basically it will talk to the AI, send it the content, and then execute tools, which will then go and write code on my behalf to generate a form that will then sit within the website. And there we go. It's created a form there for me.
And that's neat. It put it in the text box as well. I'd like information
Yeah,
about
that's
the
cool.
writer.
Yeah, so basically AI agents are coming to all kinds of different software. This is just an example of one, but it's basically a way that you can kind of chat with the software and it will actually perform actions on your behalf. So yeah, this is actually a full, functional contact form now that will run and send you an email. And I could, continue chatting with it, being like, add another field for the assets that they're going to want to buy, and it will add that field. And then I'll be like, make all of the fields mandatory, and it will go and do that. So yeah, basically quite a cool system for doing that. And we're going to release this tool in probably, I'd say, the next month. Um, so just going back to the presentation. So I guess if you are thinking about using Encore, we do have a few sort of options, and we'll open up to a bit of Q&A. So we have, as Alex showed you, the AI tools for designing a site from a logo, importing an existing website. We also work with web design agencies who do the really professional implementations. So yeah, a few options there. Our pricing, basically quite reasonable. Website and customer database is 49 Australian dollars Inc. GST per month. Um, Marketing tools adds 50 a month. E-commerce adds 50 a month. If you're a really small, like sole trader, you can also start from $5 a month, but that is a completely self-service option. Um, so yeah, I think we might open it up now with Trent and do a little bit of Q&A if we still have some time. Um, I
We
have
do have a
not
minute or
had a
two.
look at any
We
of
do
the
have. So here's your sound.
Yeah, we do have a minute or hold on. There you are.
Yep.
We do have a minute or two, and there have been a few questions that come through. So I might try and ask one or two questions before we wrap, just because of
Yeah, sure.
then go and start the next practice session after this one. Hairy Lizard, your question was around semantics. What's the priority for SEO? Is it using LLM friendly markups like hashes, or using heading 1/2, etc., that is more favorable to Google in their search results? In brief, do we have to choose or prioritize between, are we trying to work this for Google, or are we trying to do this for the LLM? Who are we trying to
So
impress, basically?
so that's a good question. Basically, it's one bird, two stones. So if you, sorry, I got that around the wrong way. You get the picture. Uh,
One
yeah,
one stone.
basically,
Yeah,
yes.
we get you.
Basically, if you have your headings and the structure in the right sort of format, heading one for your main heading, heading two for your subheadings, paragraphs and lists underneath that, it's going to improve both standard Google visibility as well as the AI. But yeah, basically AI is going to convert all of your web pretty pictures and everything like that into Markdown as it ingests it.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, hold the course check. That's correct. There was a few other questions that came in the chat as well that I think I'll just try to pull through. Explains M dash. Eight, and then lots of jokes as well. There was a question here on whether we continue to use do you do some of this in your WordPress website? I think this is a question about WordPress versus Encore. I think I saw a thing about you guys doing a migration as well, if that's available.
Yeah, we can certainly migrate clients if they have an existing site that they're happy with from WordPress. Um, of course, using WordPress is fine too if you want to stay with WordPress, but yeah, there's obviously a lot of small optimization techniques, and we're really trying to, I guess, stay modern with a lot of those in the platform and have it all work out of the box without having 50 plugins to achieve the basics.
Yeah, cool. Very good. Maybe we can just drop your email/contact form. What's the best way? If anyone's got questions that we couldn't answer
Oh
today,
yeah.
just because I'm conscious of time. Cool. All right.
And
If you would like to connect with Scott or Alex and the team, scan this QR code.
or
Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, there's a QR code there if you're on a mobile, or there is a link in the chat as well.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Oh, yeah, perfect. Jumping in the chat. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Alex. That was awesome. I'd love to spend more time trying to make questions. I'm just conscious we're gonna get into the next session after this one as well. Um, that was great. Like I said, if you've got any other, check out the Encore team, go to the website, see what the product's like. If you're interested in, what it does versus some of the things you might be using, again, they're very happy to talk through that as well. But I know when we went through this last week, Scott, I was learning a stack as well. I was like, okay, great, so much to cover. I'm going to officially start to wrap this session. So if this was in person, we'd be standing and clapping and, flowers and round of applause and all those sorts of good things. We're going to pretend that that's exactly what's happening right now. For everyone else, feel free to jump in the chat. Let Alex and Scott know if you liked the session and if you learned a few things. Tell us what those things were. I can see the thumbs and the love hearts. That's actually a good sign of what I thought the ovation would look like. So that is good. We're heading into the next two sessions starting in 10 minutes time. One of them is with Cassandra Scott talking about the AI team and using AI tooling in your bookkeeping and accounting work. So if you're interested in how AI is really changing bookkeeping, compliance work, advisory work, jump in and check that out with Cassandra. The other one is about team and culture. So building a strong firm through growth and growing pains. That is with Rebecca Mahalik and Jason Robinson. They are two accountants that have had to grow and scale and all the highs and the lows. So there's a bit of something for everyone in that next session, and we look forward to seeing you there. You will get emails with the relevant links, but if you get stuck, you can just jump back to the Growth Club website, and there's links on the side to say, hey, click and join, and that'll take you straight to the next session. We're going to wrap. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone in chat.
Fantastic. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you all in a few minutes' time.